Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Build It with Tim. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a message and reply system inside of Tadabase so that you can send messages to people and they can reply to that message and you can exchange replies right inside of your application. Okay, so when we're finished with this particular application, here's what my example looks like. I've built a marketplace with a bunch of different categories and posts that are connected to the categories. Now, um, the categories, the images were generated with AI, of course, based on some of the previous videos that I've done. And also, I think at this point, if I didn't do it via AI, I would be shunned from the internet. So we can view posts within each category and we can send messages. So right now I'm, for an example purposes, I'm logged in as like a buyer post viewer. Hi, I'd love to come pick these up. Okay, now when I send this message, it's going to be sent to the actual seller of the item. Okay, and then both of us, the seller and the buyer or potential buyer, can log into the application, and they're going to, after they receive an email notification that they've actually received a message, and they'll see this message. Okay, whether they've sent it or received it, they'll see that message, and from there they can go in and start to communicate with each other through connected replies. Okay, so if I receive a message back from the seller saying, sure, you know, when would you like to come pick it up, or I'm sorry, they're already sold, as the buyer or the person who sent the message originally, I will see those replies and we can have a conversation back and forth all within this fake marketplace application. Okay, so it's not too complicated to set up. It just takes 2 additional data tables and a little bit of page structure manipulation to kind of get the workflows the way we want them. And that's it. So let's hop over to the builder and take a look. So let's talk about the context here a little bit and some technical background into what we're doing. So in this example, right, we have this marketplace. So we have a bunch of marketplace categories and we have posts that people can make where they're trying to sell items, whatever. Each post connects to a category, and then we have some users. Okay, so in our actual setup here, you can see we have 2 users that are created. One is called post viewer, one is called post creator. All right, now we're only using a single user role in this case because in this context, in this example, this is like a public facing site, and when people sign up to post or send a message to somebody, they're signing up under the same role, right? So we don't want to actually make like 2 separate sign up pages, one for posters, one for creators, because in this particular context, again, they're going to be the same person sometimes, right? So somebody could sign up, create an account and post something. They could also create an account and, or after they create their account, they could also buy something. So they're going to be the same role. Okay. The marketplace categories, really straightforward, right? In this case, just the category name and an image. And then the posts, you can see we're collecting some basic information here about the actual item that somebody's looking to sell. The title, the category, their zip code, price description, some pickup and delivery options, images, and then who's created the post. Okay, so that's kind of the back end structure of what we're working with here. With most of these videos that I'm making, right, we're building them and I'm showing them off in one particular context, but the context can obviously change greatly depending on your use case. And that's just kind of like the nature and the power of Tadabase, right? So if this was something different, like if this was an internal business application where you are actually going to have different roles and stuff, right? The way we build out the pages might look different than what we're going to do now. But a lot of the actual data structure is going to be pretty similar in how this is actually set up and created. So to get started, I've already jump started here a little bit by actually creating the pages for the marketplace, the categories, and the posts themselves. But on the post details, I've left us a space to send a message. And first we need to actually create those data tables to hold the message data. So the first one we're going to create is messages. Okay, because the way this is going to work is there's going to be a message and connected replies. Okay, so for every single reply, we're going to have a parent message that the reply belongs to. So in practice, how this works is somebody goes into the website, they find an item that they want to buy or ask a question about, and they send a message to the seller. Now that creates the initial message record. And then from there, the two users can then communicate back and forth as replies. Okay, so here's the messages that we're going to do. We actually can change the message name from a short text to a something like a long text. And this can just be the actual message. Okay, so we're going to send them a message. We are going to send, we're going to record the date and time when the message was actually sent. We are also going to, define the actual connected post. So what message is the post in regards to? So we'll connect to marketplace posts. And then we are going to connect to the users table twice because we want to know sent from, who sent the message, and sent to, who the message was sent to. Okay, and that's it for the messages. Now the replies is going to be pretty similar, but we're cascading some connections down here a little bit where we want to then connect the replies to the message. So this will be the parent message. We can also define the actual original post that the reply is from. So marketplace post, we can leave that as is. Reply, we'll change, just like we did with the message, we'll change it from a short text to a long text and just call it, whoops, it didn't, reply. Okay, and this will also have a date time. And in this case, we're still going to make, for the replies, so we're going to connect to the users table, but we're only going to do it once this time. Okay, so the parent message contains information about both users that are communicating, right? Who sent the message initially, who received the message initially. Now on the page side, on the actual app side, when we build out the actual functionality for this, like the workflows for this, both of those users are going to be able to see those message records, right? Regardless of whether they were the sender or the recipient. Now the replies, because they connect to a message, on the message details where we're just going to display all of the replies. So all we really need to know for the replies is who sent it, right? So as far as display purposes are concerned, we can see that the message or the reply was from X, right? So just by nature of the data structure here, we always know like who the message was sent to, because if you were if you're not the one who sent it, then it's to you, right? So it's always going to be a conversation between two people. So we only need to, sorry, what's my train of thought? We only need to connect to the user table once, and we'll call this field sent from. Okay, and that's it for replies. All right, now over to the actual marketplace details page. But first we'll go through the actual page structure that I've set up so far. So number one, I just made a page with a form for me to actually create marketplace posts. Okay, and then we have another parent level page called marketplace, and this contains two components from two different tables. So again, this is just my choice on how I wanted to build this out. There's no really rhyme or reason to why I did it this way. I just wanted to do it this particular way. So anyways, we have one list component that is displaying the marketplace categories with a detail page, and another list component that's displaying the marketplace posts with a detail page. Now, the way this works is once you actually get into the category details page, we're then showing all of the connected posts, and then we're using a connected page link to get from this detail page into the post detail page. So the connected page links, just in case you need a refresher, are located here under links in HTML. We can select connected page, and we can select an existing detail page that shares the same data source. So here we're showing marketplace posts on the marketplace category detail page, but because we have another detail page for marketplace posts, we can actually go directly to that detail page. So a lateral move in terms of navigation. So anyways, marketplace posts, right? I left this space open because I'm going to put a form here to insert a new connected message. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Add a new message connected to this post. That's exactly what we want. So I'm just going to save this now with nothing in it and just resize our column and save this. Now, one thing I wanted to mention quickly is obviously I have this component down here. It's the custom component. So from, I don't know, 2 videos ago, I think I did the custom image gallery. So I'm using that image gallery here again, and I'm displaying that here on the detail page for the post. So the message form, right? So we now need to add our content here. So first we'll just kind of change the title, send a message, send a message. And all we need to record here in this particular case is the message itself. So the date and time can be set automatically in 2 different ways, either through form record rules, where we can go to rules and record rules and add a record rule to set that value. Or we could do the same rule, but on the table level. So if we wanted to go back to the data builder here and say every time a message is created, set the date and time to current date and time. So I actually prefer table rules. So I'm going to set that up here and go back and modify that form rule. The other thing actually while I'm here in the rule is every time a record is created, we can set the sent from to the logged in user. We can also set the sent to the connected value of who posted the marketplace post. Okay, so every time the record is created, it has a connection by default to the actual post, to the item being sold, and that's inherited through the form on the post detail page, right? We're adding a new connected record connected to the post. Therefore, that connection is going to be inherently set. Once it is set, right, we can then look up the connected value of who posted it and set that value as the sent to value. Okay, so in this case, it's a connection. We're setting the value of a connection to the value of another connection, both to the users table. Okay, and I think that's it. Sent from, yep, and here's our last thing that we are inputting manually on the form. Okay, so that's all I need to do for the rules then to make sure that all of those data points get actually populated. And before I forget, I'll just make sure I remove that form rule. So something like message sent, check your messages page for any replies from the seller. Okay, so as you can see in that submission message, the what I'm going to do next is actually make a page called My Messages. Okay, so we'll add this to the layout and to the menu. Now we only have one layout, one menu right now, so easy to do there. And we will do a list component of messages. Yes. Yeah. No, messages. I want to talk about this for a moment. Okay. So we are going to, I think a lot of people would kind of by instinct go, oh, I want to show messages connected to the logged in user. But remember, each message record is actually connected to 2 different users. So would you want to show records connected to the logged in user using the sent from field or the sent to field? Well, we actually want to do both, right? Because the users have the same role. Nobody is really defined as a seller or a post viewer, I guess, on the user level. So we're just going to select to show all messages, and then we're going to go ahead and filter it later. So we'll select messages here. What am I missing? Messages. Save. There we go. Now, in the data source of this component where we're displaying all of the messages, we're going to set up two filters. And the reason we're doing it here is because we can use an and or filter. So we can say if sent from is the logged in user, and if sent to is the logged in user, and then we'll toggle this here from match all to match any. So this will show, regardless of who logs in, whether it's the person who posted the item or the person who's interested in the item, they're going to have a connection on a message somewhere. So we'll do a match any rule to say if sent from is the logged in user, or if sent to is the logged in user, display those messages. Okay, so this is going to show us those messages. And we'll clean this up a little bit here where we'll just say the date, time, and the message. We can put the post there and sent from there. Okay. My messages. All right. Now, again, since I mentioned earlier that the replies are going to connect to a message, that means that we need a record details page for the messages so that we can then view all the replies and create new replies that are connected to the message. So we're going to add the record details page here through the detail link, and we'll call this something like view and reply. And maybe we could give this like a chat icon. So we'll hide that and make it a button. And we're good to go there. Okay, so let's take a look at this, what this is looking like now. First, because I'm going to be actually logging into this application now, I'm just going to make sure that I set up a redirect rule for myself. So all users will be sent to the app homepage. And in this case, let's make the marketplace page the app homepage. Right, so let's check this out. So I will log in as the post viewer at test.com. And I will start to browse through the marketplace and send messages. So let's say I'm interested in this car. I can view that post, and here's the message form. One thing I want to do before I go any further, because otherwise I'll forget, is remove that back to, sorry, where are we? Remove this link here. That's under form options, and we'll hide the back to link. All right. Hi, I'm interested in this vehicle. When can I schedule a time to come and see it? Okay, so we can send that message, right? Now I can go to my messages, and you can see that now this is saved. Now, one thing I'm going to do here is going to log in as I'm going to log in as the seller and show you what that it looks exactly the same, right? Because they are the sent to user connected, and I'm the sent from user that's connected. And because we set up that kind of that filter, that data source filter that uses the match any condition, then it's going to show me that regardless. All right, so here is that particular message from the post creator perspective. It's the same record. Okay, so both users can see this when they navigate to the My Messages page. Okay, so now we need to set up the reply section. So that's going to be very similar to what we did with this form, but on the message detail page, we're going to have, I think I have an idea of how I want to structure this page, but first let's just show a list of all of the replies. So all of the replies connected to this message. And we can do something like that. Just date, time, who sent it, and the reply. Okay, because both users are going to see this, so you want to they're going to see both their own replies and replies to them. So we want to make sure that we actually display who sent which reply, so that the users who are viewing the page know who sent what. Anyway, so we're going to resize this a little bit, and then we're going to add a component on the left, and this is going to be a form to add a new reply connected to this message. Okay, so in this case, again, we only need to actually set up the actual reply. And we'll just say send, we'll call this send a message again. All right, and back to our rules. I'm going to do table level rules again and say every time a message is created, or a reply, every time a reply is created, we are going to set the marketplace post to the connected value of the messages, the parent messages post. Okay, so we're doing a lookup from this table, and we're grabbing this connected value right here. Whoops, connected value of the parent message marketplace post. The date and time is going to be the current date and time, and the sent from is going to be the logged in user, and this one's set inherently through the page structure. This one is just set above, and that's actually in the form. So we're good. So very, very similar to the messages themselves. And we should be good to go. Let's just hide this backlink again, and reply sent. All right, so here we are in the message detail page. We'll reload this, and we'll then see the changes that we just made, right? So here's the message details, the parent message details. So this is all of the original conversation, and the reply. Let's do this actually. So this is the post creator, right? So hold on, let me resize this a little bit. This is the post creator. So view and reply. Okay, message. Hi, I'm interested in this vehicle. When can I schedule a time to see it? Hey, I'm available anytime. Oops, any time this weekend. Okay, so that's going to add a reply. And then you're going to see here, if I refresh this on the post viewer side, it's also going to show me that same reply. So let's make this look a little bit more message-like. We'll do one column. Okay, now we could take this, we could take this many steps further. My brain's spinning right now. I want to use the custom component to make this look like a chat, right? Rather than just the list component the way it is now. But this is really the basis of all we're doing. So from this point on, all we need to do is then style it however we want. Actually, I take that back. There's a couple other things that we can do, and we're going to do those now. So let's go to our forms, where we're sending the message and sending the replies. So when a initial message is sent, we're going to set up an email to go to field of sent to. So the sent to users email. And then we're going to send it from, well, it's the initial message, so you could send it like from the marketplace, right? So whatever the actual marketplace email is. And someone has sent you a message about your item. And then here is the actual message. So now we can put the message body inside of the message, right? So that just shows up there in the email. And then that's it for that. So that would then tell the person or the seller, say, oh, I have a message, and they can go log in and then view their message. Now, same thing for the reply. So this one's going to be a little bit trickier, but we're going to add this email. Now the two, we're going to do, what do we need to do for this? So for this one, we need to, what do we need to do? Okay, so the messages have a connection from the sent to. So this is like the seller in this case, right? So I guess we could maybe even rename this from like the interested party. I don't know what term you'd call that, or the seller. So let's add another connection field to this table. So I know I went on a whole rant about why we only need one connection field here to the users table, but in this case, I take it back. So what we're doing here is, this really has nothing to do with the reply record itself. It only is going to be useful for the email notification that gets sent out from the app. So we're going to add an additional record rule here and say we're going to set the value of the seller, right? The connection to the log or to the user table, the seller to a connected value of the posted by, marketplace post posted by. And then we'd also need to, if the seller sends a message back to, if the seller sends a message back to the person who's interested, then we need to know that email address too. So, right. Okay. I got it. So this really comes down to, how do we know who the seller is and who the buyer is? How can we know that information? So in the context of this app, again, the messages, the initial message records are always sent in one direction, and they're always sent from the buyer to the seller. So if we reference our message record, we have the sent from, that's the buyer, sent to is the seller. And that will 100% of the case be true for this application. Other use cases might be different. So with that said, we can still use a seller field. We have this this record rule turned on to set the seller to the connected value of, well, we can change it to the connected parent messages sent to connection. Okay. And then we're going to add one more connection field to the users table, and this will be the buyer. And one more record rule, the buyer is going to be a connected value of the sent from. Okay, now why did we go down this whole road for the reply email notification? Because we can reference connected values in the custom email. So now we can say a field, and we could say to the oh, right. Yeah, sorry. We're going to have to do this. So if the seller is the logged in user, then we'll send it to the buyer. Okay. And then we'll put in whatever content we want here. You have a new reply. And then we'll make another email and say, if the, which one did I do here? Seller. Okay. So if the buyer is the logged in user, then send it to the seller. Okay. So 2 emails with opposite conditions based on who's logged in, whether they're the buyer or they're the seller. And then we'll send it to the other person. And then again, right, you have a new reply. And we'll just make sure we put the reply in here. On the Tadabase marketplace. Okay. Great. So obviously I'm using very fake email addresses, so those will not actually be sent. Um, but now we are finished essentially with the actual like core data structure and the core workflow, right? So we've created the two tables that we need for this message and thread, right, which is contains all the connected replies, and then we have the page structure, the workflow, right, where we are sending an initial message connected to the post, and that is right through the actual done through the marketplace. So if we want to send a message from here, send that message, and then we have a way to view messages, and then we can also see all of the replies. So this was sent from the post creator. I'm available this weekend. How's Saturday at noon? Okay, so that's a new reply. An email is being sent to nowhere right now because of the fake addresses. But right, if I were this, the seller in this case is going to see all of the same content. So those workflows are built and functioning at a core level, right? The next step, if it were me to continue on with this, would be to style this to make it look more like an actual chat. I'd love to go down that road. Maybe I'll revisit that soon using the custom component. So anyways, that's it for this week's episode of Build It with Tim. I want to thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we produce these videos weekly. Okay, so don't want you to miss any of that content. Anyways, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week. Take care.